Hello everyone, welcome to Trades Talk Tuesday. I am your host, Pop Culture Mechanic, but please call me Pop for short. And wow, today, what a smoky day today. There's been quite a few wildfires around, and I think the wind is blowing it all in here. And it was kind of crazy getting up this morning and having like an orange atmosphere to look at. It was quite something else. And yeah, the smell of the smoke everywhere. It's definitely had a warning to stay indoors because of all the smoke. So I hope this passes us by. I'm not too crazy about it. And I hope you guys are doing well wherever you may be. So, as per usual, I'm going to start out with some news in industry by looking at Plant Magazine and see what they have for us to look at today as to what's going on out there. Stellantis stops construction on Windsor, Ontario EV battery plant amid Fed dispute. What's their problem now? Let's have a look here. One of the world's largest automakers said Monday it has stopped construction on a $5 billion electric vehicle battery plant in Windsor, Ontario, saying the federal government has not delivered on what was promised. Yeah, big surprise, right? Big surprise. Government not following through on anything. The news prompted the Premier of Ontario to implore Ottawa to get the deal done. Stellantis, which makes Chrysler, Ram, and Fiat cars, among others, and South Korean battery maker LG Energy Solution announced the plant last year and said it was expecting to create 2,500 jobs. All levels of government were provided financial support. While the amounts were not disclosed at the time, Stellantis now says the federal government has not held up its end of the bargain. As of today, the Canadian government has not delivered on what was agreed to. Therefore, Stellantis and LG Energy Solution will begin implementing their contingency plans, the company said in a statement. The effective immediately all construction related to the battery module production on the Windsor site has stopped. The federal government says negotiations are ongoing. The issue came up at the question period in the House of Commons on Monday. We're going to fight for the best deal for Canada, Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland said. Outside the House, Freeland said she was confident they'd get a deal. But I also want to point out that the resources of the federal government are not infinite, and we are counting on Ontario to do its fair share, and we're counting on Stellantis to be reasonable. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said the federal government needs to support Stellantis in the same way it did Volkswagen, a recently announced deal with that company to build an electric vehicle battery plant in St. Thomas. Ontario includes subsidies worth up to $13 billion plus a $700 million grant. You know, to me, this sounds just like corporate cronyism. You know, you're giving money to your buddies. Yeah, they're building something, but they're building it with the money of the people. I'm not too crazy about this. They do all this sort of stuff all the time. It makes you sick, really. You think about it too hard. The article continues. It really worries me, Ford said, after an unrelated announcement in Mississauga, Ontario. We need the federal government to come to the table and show their support like they have all along. The province put up $500 million for both deals, Ford said, and is ensuring roads and energy for the plant. We'll go toe-to-toe with any state down in the United States, he said. The only thing we can't do is go toe-to-toe with the U.S. federal government. That's the federal Canadian government's job. And they can do it. We're confident that they made a promise to the people of Windsor. I was down there with the Prime Minister. Now they need to keep their promise to the people in Windsor. Yeah, a politician keeping a promise? You're joking, right? The federal subsidies to Volkswagen were intended to allow Canada to compete with the United States, where the Inflation Reduction Act added production subsidies for batteries. On the provincial side, Ontario Economic Development Minister Vic Fedeli said matching with what the U.S. can offer is out of our league. We're involved in the capital dollars for Stellantis, so have the feds, by the way, as we've been partners, almost 50-50 partners all the way down the line, he said. But on the operating expense, this IRA that the federal government and the states have, that is up to the federal government to match. They have made commitments to Volkswagen, they have made commitments to Stellantis, and we expect them to honor those commitments. The president of Canada's largest private sector union also urged the federal government on Monday to resolve the matter immediately. It's outrageous that tens of thousands of jobs are in jeopardy due to a failure to come to terms on government investment, said Unifor National President Lana Payne, in a statement adding that companies like Stellantis don't make threats, they make decisions. Once those decisions get to a certain point down the road, they are very hard to reverse, and we cannot afford to let these jobs slip through our fingers, she said. Canadian Taxpayers Federation said the government should reject Stellantis' demands. If you hand out billions of dollars in taxpayer cash to one auto company, of course the others will follow. CTF Ontario Director Jay Goldberg said in a statement, taxpayers can't afford to throw money at every company under the sun, and Ottawa needs to say no before it wastes billions more. And good evening to you, Alex Moore. Cheers to the working man there. Ford's pleas to the federal government follow similar ones from the mayor of Windsor and Unifor, Canada's largest private sector union, over the weekend. Don't use public money to pay corporations, but they're going to end up doing it anyway. Next up, what's this say? Renew North American trade deal to defend democratic values, U.S. Chamber CEO. Are Canada's green corporate subsidies a new race to the bottom or a path to the top? Once again, subsidies, it just means government paying, so the people paying corporations. That's all that means. Toyota's profits rise as global chip supply crunch subsides. So that's over now, eh? Is that the thing? I know they were having a shortage of chips all over the place, and I'd like to know whether it's done and over with. Let's have a look here. Go. Toyota's January to March profit edged up 3% from previous year on robust sales as chip supply crunch gradually eased. Chips? Well, it is Taco Tuesday. Yes, Godzillionaire, it certainly is. Enjoy those tacos if you got them. Toyota Motor Corporation racked up 552 billion yen in quarterly net profit, up from 533 billion yen. According to results released Wednesday, quarterly sales soared nearly 20% to 9.69 trillion yen. For the fiscal year ended in March, profit at Japan's top automaker fell 14% on year to 2.45 trillion yen, but it's forecasting profit to rise 5.2% for the current fiscal year to 2.58 trillion yen. Automakers worldwide have been hurt by a shortage of computer chips and other auto parts because of restrictions over the CUF that crimped production in various countries, mostly China. Toyota said soaring raw material costs also hurt its bottom line. The automaker's sales for the fiscal year that ended in March rose across global regions, including Japan, the United States, Europe, and other markets such as Asia and the Middle East and South America. Toyota, based in Aichi Prefecture's Toyota City in central Japan, sold 10.56 million vehicles for the fiscal year through March, including its group makers like Daihatsu and Hino, and expects to boost that to 11.38 million vehicles for the fiscal year ending in March 2024. The results underline the challenges that lie ahead, as well as the ongoing resilience of the maker of the Prius hybrid, Camry sedan, and Lexus luxury models. Toyota has acknowledged falling behind in the burgeoning shift to electric vehicles, especially in key markets like China, as well as the US and Europe. Toyota has long insisted on offering models that appeal to customers in various markets, noting EVs still make up a tiny portion of the market. But recently, that has changed dramatically, catapulting players like Tesla and BYD to stardom. Toyota pioneered hybrids, which switch back and forth between gasoline engine and electric motor to deliver an efficient ride. It pushed hybrids for decades as a viable green solution and still does. But it's also expanding its low emissions options with work on hydrogen-fed fuel cell electric vehicles. Such zero-emission vehicles have already hit the road in various Toyota models in Japan, including buses and delivery vehicles. In a statement, Toyota said it's committed to further growth and will continue to offer diverse options in ecological models, including hybrids and plug-ins, as well as battery electric vehicles to make sure to meet a wide range of global demand. Toyota officials, including the new president and CEO, Koji Sato, have acknowledged the company must play catch-up in delivering EVs. All eyes are on Sato to see if he'll live up to his job. Sato replaced Akio Toyoda, the grandson of the automaker's founder. Toyota remains a chair on the company. Sato promised to work closely with Toyota to speedily respond to market demands, including EVs, so Toyota can grow or continue to grow. The foundation for this is carbon neutrality, he said. Sato stressed Toyota would stay aggressive, launching 10 EV models in China and the US by 2026. Toyota will secure a steady supply of batteries for EVs by boosting in-house production and working closely with partners. And that is that story. So Toyota is doing well. Insolvencies in Canada in March up 28.3% year over year. Tesla shouldn't call driving system autopilot because humans are still in control. Inflation likely slowed again in April, but economists say wage growth is top concern. Minnesota prepares for near total ban on forever chemicals. Okay, I'm curious about what that's all about. What's up in Minnesota? I don't suppose we have any Minnesotans out there in the chat. Okay, Minnesota is on the verge of banning non-essential uses of forever chemicals, and lawmakers say they are naming the legislation after a woman who spent the last months of her life campaigning for restrictions that will be some of the toughest in the country. Legislators, environmentalists, and family members paid tribute Tuesday to Amara Strand. She died 2 days shy of her 21st birthday last month from a rare form of liver cancer. She grew up in a St. Paul suburb where the groundwater is contaminated by PFAS and believed the chemicals were part of what caused her cancer, which was diagnosed when she was 15. Oh, that's rough. Through her pain and exhaustion, Amara was willing to be a voice of those who have become the victims of illnesses that are linked to these forever chemicals, said her father, Michael Strand. Amara called on the lawmakers of Minnesota to do what is right in passing laws that will not only protect our environment and human lives, but also force industries to find alternative ways of manufacturing their products without these deadly chemicals. PFAS, or per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, have spread around the globe and don't break down in the environment. They have been linked to a broad range of health problems, including low birth weights and certain cancers. The chemicals have been in use since the 1940s in many consumer and industrial products, including non-stick pans, fast food packaging, fabrics, and firefighting foam. I spent the last 5 years fighting cancer with every ounce of my being, and I will for the rest of my life, Amara Strand said at an emotional news conference with lawmakers and her parents back when they announced the legislation in January. Corporations must stop the production of these toxins and be held accountable and pay for the damage they've done. Through no fault of my own, I was exposed to these toxic chemicals, and as a result, I will die with this cancer. Amara's law will allow only limited exceptions to the ban, such as firefighting foam used at airports and oil refineries, and in protective clothing for firefighters. It will also require companies to disclose if the products they sell in Minnesota contain the chemicals. The ban would take effect in 2025 for a long list of products, including carpets, cleaning products, cookware, cosmetics, dental floss, fabrics and fabric treatments, furniture products for children, menstruation products, and ski wax. A House Senate Conference Committee that is negotiating details of the broad Environment and Natural Resources Bill agreed last Thursday to the PFAS language that will be included. Democratic Governor Tim Walz and his administration support the ban. He is expected to sign it after the House and Senate complete work on the final package. This will be the strongest PFAS legislation in the nation, said the Democratic representative, Sidney Jordan of Minneapolis, who went on to say Minnesota invented PFAS. By passing this, Minnesota is going to invent the solution. So they're going to stop all the companies from making these stuff? The only reason the companies use these chemicals is because they're cheap. They're deadly and they're cheap. To use something else that does the same thing is going to make it cost more. So I don't know about companies doing a switchover, but we'll have to see what happens here. Supporters said Minnesota has a special responsibility because the chemicals were invented by Maplewood-based 3M, which announced in December that it is exiting PFAS manufacturing and discontinuing their use in its products. We have a duty to lead the charge in their eradication from the environment, from our bodies, from our consumer products, from our water, said Democratic Senator Judy Seeberger of Afton, the lead sponsor of the Senate. She said the issue is personal because her home well is contaminated with PFAS, forcing her to use a filtration system to get safe water. Andrea Laval, legislative director of Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy, said Minnesota legislation goes farther than any other states and has the strictest list of what counts as non-essential uses. For example, she said California's restrictions don't cover cookware or requires many comprehensive disclosures up until now. She said Maine has had the strongest restrictions, but Maine's 2021 law mandates a phase-out by 2030, while Minnesota's laws kicks in faster. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency last year designated the chemicals as hazardous substances under the Superfund law, but the EPA stopped short of an outright ban after warning that the compounds were more dangerous than previously thought and pose health risks, even at extremely low levels. And that is it for that one. We'll see what happens, Minnesota. Next step in Ontario EV auto strategy is a lithium hydroxide plant. Canada's largest labor organization adopts climate action plan at tri-annual convention. Oh, don't do that. Climate action plan. Manitoba government offers money for new WestJet direct flights to Atlanta. Now, why would the government of Manitoba offer money for new WestJet flights? What's going on there? WestJet is launching new direct flights between Winnipeg and Atlanta starting in September. Manitoba Premier Heather Stefanson said the province will provide up to $5 million for new service, similar to a deal last year that launched direct flights to Los Angeles. Stefanson says the direct flights to Atlanta, a major hub for Delta Airlines, will mean quick connections to vacation and business destinations in areas to the south and Europe. And a good day to you, Whoopa Troopa. Nice to see you. Just reading about this article about the Manitoba government offering money for new WestJet direct flights to Atlanta. So WestJet's WestJet is one of our main carriers here in Canada. We got WestJet and we got Air Canada. Why would anyone want to fly to Atlanta or LAX? I don't know. There's got to be better ones to go to, eh? Proof Canada hates its people. Yeah, get out, get to Atlanta. Get out there. You get to LA. It goes along here. Stephenson says direct flights to Atlanta, a major hub for Delta Airlines, will mean quick connection to vacation and business destinations in areas to the south in Europe. Nick Hayes, president of Winnipeg Airport Authority, says customs pre-clearance in Winnipeg means people going through Atlanta or other U.S. destinations won't have to spend time going through customs while making connections in Atlanta. Gary Price, chief executive officer of Price Industries, says the new flights will address long travel times that have been a hurdle for customers of this manufacturing company. The first flight to Atlanta is scheduled to depart Winnipeg at 9 a.m. on September the 6th. Okay. Could always be worse. Could be Chicago. From what I've seen in the news about Chicago, I really don't want to go there. That doesn't seem like a good place to go for anything. All right, well, that's it for Plant Magazine this time around. I looked at a few, I looked at a few articles. You can also avoid customs entering the U.S. by simply walking across the southern border. Yeah, that's crazy. I've been watching a bit of that. What was it called? Article 42 or something like that. Title 42. Anyways, it seems like it just flings the doors wide open. Is that right? You guys? Is that what's going on down there? I was just going to move along here. I found this website called Cron. Homeland Security hates him. Watch his one easy trick. Pretty much, it's a government-sponsored invasion. Okay. That's terrible when your worst enemy turns out to be your own government. Yeah, so I just thought I'd quickly go through this. You guys have been through this with me before. List of trade careers. These are a list of trade careers in the United States. Stuff from like building trades, carpenter, carpet installer, electrician, heavy equipment operator, installation installer, landscaper, painter, plumber. Mechanical trades, you got auto mechanic, HVAC installer, machinist, mechanical drafter, locksmith, mechanical insulator, elevator mechanic, mechanical installer. The industrial trades now, you have steam engineer, cargo freight agent, iron worker, line installer and repairer, paving equipment operator, metal fabricator, asbestos worker. Oof, I would not want to be an asbestos worker. Like doing asbestos abatement, that's crazy stuff. Yeah, definitely infect your lungs, and yeah, it would be a terrible way to go. If it was tens of thousand conservative voters lining up at the southern border, there with tanks and the full military down there, won't you let those conservatives in? Steam engineer? Whoopstotska does need steampunk tech. Now that would be cool. I'd be on the first flight to Whoopstotska if we start doing steampunk. Medical trades, dental assistant, paramedic, phlebotomist, respiratory therapist, clinical laboratory technician. Become a machinist apprentice. And they talk about the salary here. ZipRecruiter posts that the salary range of our machinist apprentices range from $23,000 to $56,000, with an average of $35,000 a year, $17 an hour. You're already booked for appearance in Whoopstotska no matter what. Nice. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics estimated the yearly median salary for machinists and tool and die makers was $47,000 a year, $23 an hour, which is in line with other figures shown above. It also shows the tool and die makers earn more than $57,000 a year. These skilled workers fit and assemble parts to make and repair cutting tools, dies, fixtures, and other hand tools. They also evaluate specifications, set up and operate machine tools, and lay out metal stock. Well, I mean, I guess depending on which state you live in, you could do very well with that kind of money. But I guess every state is different for the tax base and taxes that they're going to charge you. Let's see. What's it like in Missouri for taxes? Do they take a lot off there? Is it pretty high? I'm asking you, Whoopa. And what about you, Godzillionaire, where you're at? The wage for a tradesman. This is a good one for people to read over, because they learn that it's you can make some pretty decent wages. Missouri taxes aren't too bad, but they do have state income tax, sadly. Okay, I did not know that. Taxes here are somewhere between Snoop Dogg and Willie Nelson. Yeah, okay. Here you go. Construction carpenters. It says here, tradesman's salary about 54,000. Oh yeah, and wherever you're at, Alex Moore, if you're still listening, I'd like to know what your what's the taxes like in your state? Your taxes were crazy high last year? Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, construction carpenters. For this skilled occupation, annually averaged 54,000. The best paid 10% could earn 87,000 or more annually, while the lowest paid earned 31,000. The most common industries for carpenters in the BLS survey were residential construction, where they averaged $50,000 annually, and non-residential construction, where they earned an average of $48,000. Huh. You got a lot back in tax returns, but you'd rather just have never had my money stolen from me. Yeah, I agree. The ideal thing is to end up with neither, owing the government or getting any back. If you could get it to that 0 point, that's the goal to shoot for. Tax returns are just interest-free loans to the government. Yeah. Yeah, and if you pay them too much and they have to give some back to you, that's extra money that they were able to have while you went without it. Electrical workers average 61,000 a year. The best paid 10% could earn 98,000 a year, while the lowest paid 10% earned 33,000. Building equipment contractors were the largest employers in trade, hiring 477,000 workers, and their average annual salary was $60,000. Well, that's all right. Those top 10% though, wow, they're almost busting 100,000 a year. But I wonder if that's with overtime. But if that's just straight time, that's pretty crazy. Cabinet makers, the pay scale for certified welding. When you're doing welding, yeah, you can have your base level, your C level. That's what we have in Canada, C level. But if you can do like B pressure and all that, you're going to get more money for that. Straight time as opposed to gay time? No, Whoopa. Just your average wage. You know it. You know what I'm talking about. How much money do millwrights make? Hey, that's my trade. In the United States, the millwright average salary was around $57,000. Oh, that's pretty good. Comedy, you've entered the comedy zone. The median earning 50% of millwrights made between 43,000 and 69,000. Haha, nice, 69,000. The highest paid 10% earned 72,000. The lowest 10%, such as new apprentices, earned less than 35,000. That's because they're apprentices. So apprentices will always earn a percentage of what a journeyman makes. Highest paid by our industry at okay. Millwrights working in electric power generation, distribution, and transmission earn the highest pay, an average of 86,000 a year. 76,000 for scientific research and development. So when they're in the 70s, there, working at paper mills, they earn 62,000. Average pay by state. New Mexico was the highest paying state for millwrights, with an average of 79,000 a year. Alaska ranked second, followed by New York and California. Washington ranked fifth in the nation, with an annual salary of 65,000. Huh. Several states across the nation reported low average salaries for millwrights between 43,000 and 50,000, including Florida, Maine, Montana, Kansas, and West Virginia. I guess you'd have to look at the cost of living, because maybe those states it's cheaper to live in. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure myself. How much do electricians charge per hour? The highest paying trade careers? Yeah, this website's got a lot of information. Like, wow. Elevator installers and repairers jobs. Okay. You don't know about Maine and Florida, but you can confirm the other three are pretty cheap to live in. Okay, that's good to know. So yeah, being a power plant operator. Yeah, you have to know your stuff to be a power plant operator, that's for sure. I pretty much think you have to be a power engineer. Construction manager, working as a civil engineer. How to become a coal mining electrician. Oh, very specific. A painting apprentice. Difference between a journeyman and apprentice. Pay scale for a helicopter mechanic. That's a really important job. You make a mistake and, people are dying. How much would an experienced welder make? The average wage for a railroad carman. I don't know. It'd be fun for a little while to ride the rails. Jobs working with metal. A certified welder, a metallurgical engineer, scrap metal recycling worker, a goldsmith and jeweler. What's the job outlook for a mechanical engineer in the next 20 years? Yeah, definitely. Responsibilities of a journeyman. Yeah, this is a good website. I definitely think if anybody's interested, they should give it a read. It's Chron, CHRON.com. Anyway, moving along. I bet you guys are really, really interested in that commercial that I did with Punkwaddle. So you know what? Let's take a little break, and I'll give you guys a watch of that commercial. And hopefully you like it, and let me know if you can hear it. Here we go.
Oh, hey there everybody. How are you? Well, I don't always play video games, but when I do, I make sure to safely make a safety save in a safe environment. And if you don't know how to make a safety save, well then make sure you check out Pop Culture Mechanics, 9 a.m. Mountain Time and 10 a.m. Central on Saturday mornings, where you can learn how to make a safety save that you might be so excited you could dance if you wanna. So, come on and check out Pop Culture Mechanics on Saturday mornings. Going to see you there. Bye.
Finally! Yes! Whew! My God! There you go. How was that? And hello, Punkwaddle. Timing is everything. A penguin is never late. He arrives precisely when he intends to. Yeah, there you go, you guys. That was the debut of the commercial for me. Thanks to Punkwaddle. Very appreciate your help on that. And yes, the famous Punkwaddle arrives. Here he is. So that is our little thing we put together. And remember, everybody, always do a safety save. Moving right along. You know some famous penguins? You know, those ones from Madagascar, those are my favorite. I would watch the show they had on television there. The television, yeah. They had like half-hour short television programs, and the movie they had where Benedict Cumberbatch plays one of the spies they're working with from the North Wind. You need to redo the safety dance to safety save. You can save if you want to. You can save your guys behind. I know there's some lyrics there somewhere. Coming up with them on the fly is pretty tough. But yes, always do safety save. All right, I found this article here. Why is there a skilled trade shortage in Canada? Why? So Canada is currently experiencing a shortage of skilled tradespeople, with many sectors, particularly Canada's energy and construction industry, struggling to find qualified workers to fill job openings. The shortage is having a significant impact on the Canadian economy and is likely to worsen in the coming years, says Martin Socha of SurePoint Group of Calgary, Alberta. But these shortages also mean there are significant opportunities for young people and for those wanting a career with long-term stability. There are several reasons for the skilled trade shortage. Demographic shift is number one. One of the main reasons for the skilled trade shortage in Canada is the demographic shift that has been occurring in recent years. Many skilled tradespeople are reaching retirement age, and there are not enough younger workers to fill the gap. According to a report by BuildForce Canada, over the next decade, Canada will need to recruit 309,000 new workers to replace retirees and meet new demand. Second reason, low participation rates among younger workers. Another factor contributing to the skilled trade shortage is low participation rates among younger workers. Many young Canadians are not choosing to pursue careers in the skilled trades, opting instead for university degrees or other career paths. This is partly due to the perception that skilled trade jobs are low paying and require physical labor, which may not be appealing to some young people. That's because they're lazy, my opinion. There is also a lack of awareness among high school students about the opportunities available in the skilled trades. That is true as well. No one ever tells them, like, hey, you don't have to go to university, you can do this. All my friends save, and if they don't save, they won't respawn as mine. That's pretty good. It's hard to do skilled trades with blue. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I can count on one finger the amount of blue-haired people I've seen in the trades. That's for sure. The third reason, lack of training opportunities. Even among young people who are interested in pursuing careers in the skilled trades, there's often a lack of training opportunities. Many training programs require apprenticeships, which can be difficult to obtain. There is also a lack of funding for training programs, particularly in rural areas where skilled trades jobs are in high demand. The fourth reason, lack of recognition. Despite the importance of skilled trades jobs to the Canadian economy, there's often a lack of recognition for the value of this work. Skilled tradespeople may not be compensated as well as other workers with similar levels of education and experience, and their work may not be viewed as highly skilled. This can make it less attractive for young people to pursue careers in the skilled trades. The fifth reason, immigration challenges. Canada has a large pool of highly skilled immigrants, many of whom are not able to work in their chosen fields due to lack of recognition of their foreign credentials. This means that there is a pool of skilled trades workers who are unable to fill the available jobs in the skilled trades. Efforts are being made to recognize foreign credentials and streamline the process for immigrants to obtain Canadian certification. That's fine as long as they're as stringent as ours. Check the country they're coming from. Make sure that their tests are as stringent as ours. Right? Don't just wave them on through and tell them, yeah, you're good to go. That's the way I look at it, because I've worked with a few people that were from other countries, and I questioned their tickets that they had. So you have to do that as well. You got to make sure you vet them very well. Limited access to equipment and technology. Smaller businesses in the skilled trades may face challenges in accessing the latest equipment and technology. This can make it difficult for them to compete with larger businesses and attract skilled workers. There's a need for increased investment in equipment and technology to ensure that businesses of all sizes have the resources they need to succeed. Not every company is going to have access to, the latest technology. Not every company wants to always keep switching over to the newest technology. They find something that works and they use it and they get used to it and it's cheap. Always switching over to the newest stuff is expensive and it can lead to downtime for you. The seventh reason, industry downturns. When industries such as oil and gas experience downturns, it can lead to a decline in the number of available skilled trades jobs, making it more difficult to attract new workers to the industry, particularly if they are uncertain about job security. Efforts are being made to diversify the Canadian economy and reduce its dependence on industries that are prone to boom and bust cycles. Efforts are being made at the government, industry, company, and individual levels to address the skilled trade shortage, including increased investment in training programs, increased recognition of skilled trades jobs, and efforts to streamline the process for recognizing foreign credentials. By addressing these factors, hope that Canada can ensure that there are enough skilled tradespeople to meet the demand and support the Canadian economy. And there you go. So they can point out all of these reasons for it, the skilled trade shortage, but they have to come up with some solutions to this. And I think first and foremost is expressing to the younger generations that this is a legitimate career path for you to take. It's not something to be looked down on. You work with your hands, you're good at it, you get a decent pay, and you'll have knowledge with you can take for you the rest of your life, and you can move from company to company and find yourself a good paying company once you have your experience. And what's going on here? Not very good connection. Looks like buffering a bit. Come on now. Anyway, there you go. That's that one taken care of. And let's move along now. Close that. Outside of medicine, if an industry isn't subject to boom or bust cycles, it's government racket or inherently useless. Okay. You're always going to have the boom and bust cycle, I think. It's how things go. Okay, what am I going to do here? Do this and that down. All right. Got some pictures for you guys. So I was quite far away when I was taking this picture. But we can zoom in here because it's a pretty good camera. So this is a loading rack for rail cars. And it is getting lifted up because the pilings that it's on are getting pushed out of the ground. So back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, all they would do is drill holes and pour concrete down them. And then they would solidify, and then they would put a frame or structure on top of those pilings. And they're like, okay, that's good enough. But because of the extreme weather changes, as you can see, there's snow all over the ground when I took this picture. The frost heaving that happens, it pushes the pilings out of the ground. And not at the same time either. You'll get things that are lifting up higher than others. And then it looks like this. And as you can see where the ground is at grade level. And you can see here the pieces are getting pushed up out of the ground. So there is a solution to this problem, and they do that using screw piles. And the screw piles are put in by a machine, and they grab into the ground a lot better than the smooth sides on the concrete piles. So as you can see here, they've got it hooked up, and they are going to lift that up, move it off to the side. They're going to chip all those pilings away and put screw piles in. Actually, the screw piles are in already. They're right there. There it is there. There's one there, and there should be some over here. Yep, there's one there, there's one there. So what they're going to do then, they'll lift this rack off and put a framework down on there, on these pilings, these screw piles. After they get rid of these, they're going to chip all those away down to ground level, and then they will put I-beams across and make a framework for this to sit on, and it should be much better. It will be not getting pushed out of the ground. And there's the crane there. It's got it lifted up. Doesn't have to be a very powerful crane, because it's just a framework. It's not heavy per se. And so once you have that, got the next step in this. So this is an after shot. As you can see, the concrete piling has been jackhammered level with the ground. And the new I-beam is right there. And right here is the foot of that loading rack you saw. So it's right on top of it. And there's the other one. So these are lettered. There was A, this one is B. As you can see, this one's been pushed up a little bit too, as it's been a couple of winters. The last picture was 2021. This is 2023. I took this at the beginning of the month. And you can see there, this concrete is getting pushed up out of the ground. So they want me to measure these and make sure and keep track of the measurements every year, because if it moves up and it starts pushing into this, it's going to start bending it and pushing it over. So we'll have to jackhammer it down. And there's the fourth one. Same thing, you can see along the edge there. This thing gets, because of all the frost heaving, this thing gets pushed up and out of the way. And that's not the only one where I'm at. There is much more of those. Yeah, I'll show you a good example right here. These are fairly new bullards that were put in. And look at that, it's lifting up off the ground already. This one lifted up and it snapped it off. But you can see they're getting pushed up out of the ground. Those are one of the old ones. It looks like it's still getting pushed up a little bit, but it's been jackhammered down. Same with that one. There's two other ones. These ones haven't been pushed out of the ground yet. Looks like they're not getting moved a lot. So that's a relief. Don't have to worry about those ones. Let's see. So here, same thing, old concrete piling. Same with that one. These ones aren't attached to anything, but we just have to watch out and make sure they're not going to get pushed up into anything that's critical, like a pipe. Otherwise, that could be very, very deadly. So they're all lettered, so I can keep track of them on a spreadsheet. That's a large one, but there's nothing over top of it, so it's okay if it gets pushed up. And, oh, I got lots more. I got lots more here. So these are all underneath a pipe rack, and it has new supports. So these are the old supports. And you can see there's the rack running right over top of it, and I had to sort of lay down to get at these things. A lot of them got really well pounded down. Let's see. That one, I did that one. There's a better shot. This is the other framework, and you can see that one is at grade still, so it's okay. So it's that one, and that one, and that one. Those ones did okay. This one, not so much. This one looks like it's getting lifted out of the ground. Same with that one. This one's taking a beating. And you can see how much it's lifting up. This one's a little better, but still, got to keep an eye on it. Yeah, so that's the effects of frost heaving on concrete pilings. So, you know, when you're out there in industry, you know, you're out there and being the maintenance guy or whatever trade you're in, you got to watch out for stuff. They ask you to do stuff like this. It's important because it'll lead to something disastrous if it's not checked on. If people listening aren't going out there and, you know, oh, is this a result of frost heaving? Is this causing undue strain and such? You know, so it's something to look into. More, I think, in the colder climates where we have the extreme temperature changes. You know, from minus 30 in the winter, plus 30 in the summer. You know, that's a lot. That's a 60-degree Celsius change in temperature. So, quite the swing. But those are just one of the things to consider when you're in the maintenance department and you have engineers asking you to do things, and you end up doing them because it benefits you, and you know, you're making spreadsheets. Managers love looking at spreadsheets. So if you're computer savvy and you're in the trades and you can make spreadsheets for them to look at and make themselves feel good, then you've pretty much you've nailed it. You're going to keep your job for a long time. And that's important. You want to keep your job. I think so. I think that's the thing anyway. So yes, that is pretty much the stream for tonight. I'm glad everyone came by. It was such a fun time. I'm glad you guys were able to see the new commercial for Saturday game stream. In fact, you know what? We should watch it again. I really like that. You guys up for it? Up for a good another commercial? Why not?
Oh, hey there everybody. How are you? Well, I don't always play video games, but when I do, I make sure to safely make a safety save in a safe environment. And if you don't know how to make a safety save, well then make sure you check out Pop Culture Mechanics, 9 a.m. Mountain Time and 10 a.m. Central on Saturday mornings, where you can learn how to make a safety save that you might be so excited you could dance if you wanna. So, come on and check out Pop Culture Mechanics on Saturday mornings. Going to see you there. Bye.
Finally! Yes! Whew! My God! There we go. Commercial for you. A little bit of shameless self-promotion. Courtesy of Punkwaddle. That's an impressive work area. Oh, thanks, Wookie Be Bad. It's a small place, you know. It does well. It's for a singular maintenance guy, and that's me. So it's nice rather than being in the large area that I was at beforehand. All right, so let's wrap her up there. I'd just like to say thanks for everyone that came out. People like Alex Moore and Godzillionaire, Whoopa Troopa, and Punkwaddle. Always a pleasure. And Wookie Be Bad. Nice to see you. Haven't seen you around before. I hope you like what you see. If you guys could, please hit that like button. You know, it lets YouTube know that you like what you saw. And spread the word, you know, tell your friends. Hey, there's this guy out there. He's a mechanic. He's a pop culture mechanic, and he's on there on the weekends. And my new slogan is working the weekend morning shift. That's what I do on the streams. I work the weekend streams, morning shift. All for your viewing pleasure. And there's other channels out there too. People I've personally talked with and watch, like Pacific 4 and 4 and Blaine's Escape Corner and Ronin 66. There's also DJ Ronnie G, Brandon the Anime Guy, the Notorial Lifeform. There's an Angry Canadian and Whoopa Troopa, who appears on Dadman Walking. And I know for a fact he's going to start streaming again. It's coming up. I think on Friday he's going to stream. He's going to stream for playing Kirby. So that is great, Whoopa. Good to see you back in the fold for streaming again. And there's also Punkwaddle, who appears at Floral from Under a Rock. And he has his own channel as well. So check out Punkwaddle. Glory to Whoopstotska Jake D have been lurking while haze the degeneracy from your bones. That's you, all right. It's good to see you, though. I'm glad you could pull yourself away from Tears of the Kingdom to stop by. I've got a Discord out there. It's called The Shop. Because, you know, all the tradesmen hang out at the shop. Place to shoot the breeze. I'm on Twitter as well. Try not to argue too much on Twitter. It's just mostly for liking anime waifus. I'm currently streaming on Rumble as well and Twitch. So, greetings to you on the Twitch side, whoever that may be, and anyone in Rumble. I appreciate you, and anyone that was lurking on YouTube. Coming up is Saturday game stream. Time to play more of The Hobbit for Game Boy Advance. This is getting good now. I've made it to Karok. And if you've read the Hobbit book, you know that is where around the area Bjorn is. So I don't know if I'm going to run into him or not, but we'll see if they put him in the game. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can make it quite far. I at least want to get through Mirkwood, but we'll see what happens. Then on Sunday anime chat. You like anime? This is the place to go. Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. This theme for this month is video games that were made into anime, or anime that was made into video games. So I hope you'll join me on Sunday to see which anime I choose. And I'll show you some gameplay from the games that they were made into. And then I circle around again to Tuesday with Trades Talk Tuesday. Hoping to have a guest on. But if not, then I'm going to try to help you guys out with resume writing for the trades. There is quite an art to resume writing and getting yourself noticed among all those other hundreds of resumes for this one job. So this was an idea that I didn't come up with, but it was an idea by Angry Canadian. He suggested it to me, and I thought, you know what? That is a good idea. And so I ran with it, and we'll see what I can come up with next week. So make sure you tune in then. Other than that, everyone, I'm very grateful you all showed up to the stream today. I want to say it's always nice to have the regulars show up in chat. We can all have a good time, chat with each other, have some laughs. So yeah, until next time, everyone, I've been Pop Culture Mechanic, and I am signing off.